Okay, so you finished your initial knowledge check. Hopefully, you've been working on the Start My Path and your topics. But this is my first one. I'm looking at this. Alex leaves you with your timeline. I don't find the timeline that useful. So I always like to go back to my pie. If I click on the center, I can go from percentages to number of topics, both of which are 0 right now. So they look not that impressive. Now keep in mind, 0 is an acceptable score. Do not feel bad about this. When you took your initial knowledge check, it's like taking the final exam the first week of class. So it's assumed that you're not going to do great on it. If your score is really, really high, that means you probably don't belong in the class, or you looked a little bit too much up, and we will deal with that later. Most scores are generally on a low end. I've seen really, honestly and truly, it makes sense if they're in the 20s to the 0 to the 20%, or 20 topics is perfectly acceptable. Most of them being at the 0, 5, that kind of stuff. So do not stress if you have a low score. That is perfectly acceptable. You get full credit for having done this because we have to set up our ALEKS. So then what you do is you're going to start your path in most times. But before we get there, we're going to make sure that we don't freak out on anything. Now, up next, this blue box will tell you which unit you're working on and give you some time frames. However, keep in mind, the way that I have to have it set up, there's some extra checkpoints that I don't actually want in the class, but I can't control. So this is first of 3 weeks. This is not a score that I'm going to collect anything. It's just for the ALEKS setup. So if you are conscious of your stuff and looking at this, it says due today at 11:59. I have 0 out of 28 topics completed. That is fine. It is not being recorded. It is just the setup of the class. So the only time that you have to worry about these are when it says final week. I will show you where you can see those in the assignment list too. So that makes a little bit more sense, hopefully. But do not freak out about this. This is not an actual due date. It is just a structure of the ALEKS so that I could get it to work the way that I want to. So we're going to start our path. And the first thing that's going to come up is going to be a direction page. Now, I don't recommend people copy this all down to start with in their notebook, because some of these topics and some of these problems you're going to already know how to do, and you're not going to need to write this, so that would be kind of a waste of time. So usually I recommend reading through this or going over here and watching the video of the explanation of it, which should be a very similar problem by the book author, and then clicking on the start. So this is a function notation type thing. Now, ALEKS doesn't let you show your work on these pages, but you'd be writing stuff down in your notebook as you're doing the problem. I happen to be able to annotate, so I'm going to actually just work this one problem just so that we can see what happens with the toolbar and stuff like that. So f of 6 means that I'm taking the f function and I'm going to put a 6 in for the x. So the f of 6 is going to look like -3 times 6 minus 1. So this is -18 minus 1, which is -19. All right, so I'm going to put that in there in a minute. The g of 4 means I have to go to the g equation, which is going to be, and I'm going to put a 4 in for x. So this is going to be 2, and then 4 to the 3 plus 6. So this is 2, 4 to the 3rd is 64 plus 6. So 128 plus 6. Now, it says no calculators. I would do those calculations on my paper, but I'm trying to get it quick, so I'm just doing my head. I could get it wrong this way. All right, so then I have to go back because I can annotate since I'm in Zoom. I have got -19. And I have got 134. And then once I have that, I click check. Hopefully I have it right, but I don't because I forgot my negative. It is a -4, not a +4. It does not matter. It doesn't, I can recheck my work. So now this time I'm going to change my work to that -4. I'm back to my pen. Theoretically, my pen. So I'm going to change this to a negative, and this becomes a negative. A negative times itself 3 times is a -64. then that, and then it's negative 128 plus 6 is going to be a negative 122. This time I'm going to change it. I know that my change should be correct. Hopefully, it's possible for me to still make a mistake. Negative 122. With I recheck it, I have it correct and it gives me 1 bar. Now, if I get another one correct, I will get a bonus bar. So I will be at 3 bars automatically. And then if I could get one more, I can get up to 5. So I don't have to do quite so many examples. So then I am going to clear all drawings, and then I would go to the next. If I'm doing another problem, this time I'm going to move this out of the way. This time I'm just going to get it wrong. So I'm going to say 1, and I'm going to say negative 6. I check it. It is wrong, and it takes the bar away. Say I fixed it, did my work, and I'm going to recheck it. The rechecking it, if I am still wrong, it will take another bar if there is a bar to take. So be careful when you do the recheck. Make sure that you did fix whatever was wrong. If I get 2 wrong in a row, the bar got angry and it's saying, oh, wait a second, let's go back and check the explanation. So with your first one, if you get it wrong, you can try the recheck. It's not going to penalize you because you're not going to have any bars to start with. And then if it gets the angry, it will take you back to your explanation. Now I would definitely be writing some notes with it. You can also get back to your explanation by clicking on the explanation button down here. Cool. Now, if you don't like topics, it's starting to get really angry, you can use this bar right up, this arrow up here, and you can change your topics. You can sort through. This needs 5 done. This one only needs 3. Might be an easier problem. If I wanted to change topics, I would click on the box, wait for this background to change, and then hit your start. Be careful if you look at these things, it's going to want the same exact format. So if I just write the numbers, it's not going to be correct. I'm going to need those squiggly brackets, and there will be that in the tool. So yet again, I read through it. I look at this. I can watch the video if I want, and then I start my problem. If I'm stuck with the problem, it's still not making sense, I've looked at the definition. Use this button here on the problem page, and you can send me the exact problem that you're working on through ALEKS, and then I will answer that with that. All right, so then that is your continuing path. So you can change topics, you can do the problems. And then this 3 bar is your main menu. So if we click on this, we can go back to our home page. We would see our progress. This little person will tell me when to expect my next knowledge check. So I haven't finished my topics. This will go away. Once those topics are done, it's going to give you a little congratulations, you have 1 of the 3, and then it'll keep telling you as you get closer to your daily topics goals. And remember, that's between Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Then there's the Monday, Tuesday, all of that. So 3 bar menu is your main menu. And the other thing that I want to talk about in this video is the assignments. So we're going to click on, so daily topics is the start my path or continue my path and getting those done. And then we have the assignments. In the assignments, we have the unit 1. Remember, it's 1 of 3 weeks. That's not, it's not due. If I look at all of the assignments coming up, I can show you what it's going to look like for you guys. So week 2, you got your daily topics. You also have unit 1, which is 2nd of 3 weeks, which is not correct. And then we see for week 3, you see final week due Sunday. Those are the scores that I'm going to be collecting, and that is going to be the 10th of September. Okay, so when it says final week, those are the scores you worry about. Worry about the due dates for then. As you're working on topics, those units are going to get finished. So we're going to go back to the current ones. So this is what you're saying, 0%, don't freak out. Daily topics, this will get up to 100%. So it'll either be 25%, meaning you got 1 topic, 50%, 2 topics, 75%, or 100%. Then the other thing that we have is we have 4 homework assignments. These are set problems that you're going to have to do. They are also my test banks for any quizzes that we would have, and you will have a quiz or the potential of a quiz from each one of them. The homework 2 is your midterm review. So I will always post the questions that the questions that you have and resources for you, but those are going to be in our Canvas class. So module 1, if I clicked on the prerequisite review in Canvas, I will see the list of the problems. So for this homework, question 1 is going to be divisibility rules for 2, 5, and 10. Question 2 is going to be divisibility for 3 and 5. All of those topics are listed. And then also in that page for that prerequisite review is my YouTube playlist. And the YouTube playlist is going to have all of those topics in alphabetical order, so you can sort through for which one you want. And play those. So there's resources to help you. So let's go back to our ALEKS. I believe it's this page. I don't know why that one's up, but I'm going to close that. So homework 1, this one is due September 6th, because it is all of those beginning review topics that you need to have to do well in our course, but they're not part of our pie because they're from the previous course. So if we click on it, you click on the title, that will give you a new attempt with it, or if you saved it, it would give you your current attempt. You click start. We have one of unlimited attempts, so you can do this as many times as you want, and every time that you do it, it will give you just the problems that you haven't done. So the score will keep improving up until the due date. And then after the due date, any problems you do later, you still get credit for it. You still get points for it. There's just a late penalty of, I think, 5%. So question 1, if we look at it, it's divisibility by 5, 2, and 10. So it matches with what we have. You try to answer your problems. You can hit check. You get 3 attempts on each one. So I'm going to get this completely wrong because I'm going to put this for all of them and then ignore some other stuff. If I check it, it's going to tell me I'm completely wrong. This I can recheck. I can change things and recheck. And this time I have partially right. So I've fixed A. I need to fix the other 2. I can try one last time, 3 strikes, and then it will. So if I get this wrong, which I did, it will mark it as partially correct. If I wanted to do another one, or I can move on to something else, I would click try another one, and it will let you clear out the problem, still get it for full credit as you get it correct. So divisible by 10, divisible by 5, and then 2 there. So if I get it correct, it gives me the red check. And I can either try another one so I can practice some more, or I can click continue and get to the next problem. I can save for later, meaning it will not submit any scores, or I can click submit assignment. I've got one right. I'm confident with it. I know how those ones are working, so I don't really need to do any more practice of them if I with that. So I am going to be, just in case I'm going to forget to do any more later, I'm going to get my credit that I have. I personally, as the instructor, will only see your score if you've clicked submit assignment. So I'm going to submit my assignment just so I can show you something else. It's going to tell me I'm not done with it, but that's okay. So once I've submitted it, I have 2% on this homework assignment. So I can go back to my assignment list, which from the 3 bars, back to assignments. And I can click here. If I click on the percent, it would show me that attempt. So if I look here, I click on the percent, it will let me review whichever attempt I've done. The ones that are wrong will be open for my next attempt, but I can see what I did on this one, and I can see this problem. I won't see any work. I didn't get it's no answer given, but I can see what the correct answers were if I wanted to look at another example. Whether it's useful or not is up to you. So going back to the assignments, say I want better than a 2%, I would go back and click on the prerequisite review again on the title, and now I'm on the second of unlimited attempts. I click start. And question 1 is already corrected, so I don't have to do it. I don't have the option of redoing it. But because I've already got credit for it. So I can start with 2, I could jump around and go to any other problem, do those things. This time I'm going to save for later. When I go to the home, as long as I've saved for later, it's an active homework assignment. It is going to show up in my shortcut. If I have too many things that I've started, they might bump off of it, but this is another quick way that I can get to the assignment list instead of using the upper corner. So that should hopefully get you to continuing your path. So getting your daily topics in, which will help with your unit topics. And then you can start and look at your homework assignments in ALEKS 2. That is under the assignment list, the assignment tab. And you should be working on both your daily topics, so your continue your path, and that prerequisite homework right now. So let me know if you have any questions, if something's not working, or if you have any questions in general. Remember, you can use the envelope while you're working on stuff. Just be on a problem page that you're stuck with, and I will respond. So let me know if you have any questions.